Samsung's A series phones are usually not their most exciting, but the A90 5G is actually the first in a while that actually you might want to take a look at. Let's see what's interesting about this one. So, A series is one of Samsung's sort of mid-range lines, not as flashy as the S or the Note series, but as we can see here, we have the A90 5G, which is the first time they've taken what's obviously a really flagship feature, 5G support, and put it in a phone that you might think isn't a flagship, but actually as we get into specs, it's more and more flagship. So this really feels like Samsung trying to take the fight to brands like Honor and Huawei and OnePlus and hit that price point that's a little bit lower than the iPhone S10, Note 10 level, still delivering a top Samsung experience. Plus it's 5G. So yeah, this is the A90. On the back, we'll see it's got this really cool geometric kind of like panel design with these 4 different panels of different colors. This is all in black. There's also a white model, which has a sort of almost like pearlescent look to it. But yeah, I love this. I've not seen anything quite like this before. This seems to me a really unique way to take on the kind of reflective color designs that people like Honor are doing, but in what still feels like a Samsung-y kind of a way. As we'll see here, triple camera setup. There's a 48 megapixel main lens. You also get a wide lens and a depth sensor. So you're getting like, again, it's not going to be quite the camera performance you get up in like the Note 10 or anything like that, but I'd expect you to get some really, really fantastic shots out of this device. Flip it around to the front. As you've already seen, we've got the little sort of dewdrop notch at the top right in the center for a 24 megapixel selfie cam. Big sort of 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display, nearly edge-to-edge, barely any bezeling. Again, this is feeling very high-end, and the specs are pretty high-end too. Snapdragon 855, that's like the flagship chip for this year, other than the 855 Plus. And then you get either 6 or 8 gig of RAM, and I think it's 128 gigabytes of storage, which is really the only spec that feels like it's not like top of the line. It's especially interesting when you think about the price, which is 790 euros, though I don't have it in pounds or dollars just yet. So obviously for an A series, that's a lot. But when you factor in the kind of specs you're getting, the fact that it's basically what any other brand would consider a flagship, and it's 5G. So 790 euros for a 5G device, that makes it one of, if not the cheapest 5G phone on the market. And I honestly still don't really recommend buying 5G, but if you're going to, you're probably better off spending this kind of amount on the phone rather than going all the way into sort of the flagship kind of stuff in terms of pricing. It's going to be available for pre-order later this month. I think 20th September is the UK pre-order date, with a release date then in early October. I think the 4th of October is the UK release. That'll probably vary a little bit by other markets. If you are a fan of Samsung phones, you want that new Samsung One UI experience, but you don't want to drop $1,000 because, yeah, don't spend $1,000 on a phone is my personal advice. Like, this looks pretty great. It's just a few hundred cheaper. You get the 5G if you really care about that. And man, it looks beautiful.